All right, it's recording. All right, so this is Crow from Merced. He's kind of here just to share his little story and explain some of the stuff that'd be going on in prison and stuff like that. All right. So what led you into gangs when you were a kid?
I mean, I grew up idolizing all that shit, watching movies like fucking Goodfellas, stuff like that. Like I was infatuated with that lifestyle. I had pretty much free reign to do whatever I wanted to, and that life appealed to me. And I grew up around dope dealing and all that shit, so naturally I started gravitating towards the hood in my town. But at that time, like I was actually living in Stockton with my mom, so it's like I would keep it with my cousins. They're all from the east side over there, but I would never actually get involved because that's not my hood. That ain't my town.
Yeah.
And like the more I started selling dope out there, the more I got involved in that street life. By the time I went back to Merced, I was fully immersed in it. Like by the time I got back to Merced, I was already in continuation school. I met homies right there from my hood, and it just happened organically. Like within months, I was over there in the street putting in work, and on Thanksgiving Day of '96, I ended up getting jumped into my neighborhood. Like while everybody was having Thanksgiving dinner with their families and shit, I was getting jumped in by mine.
So what led up to you being arrested and sent to prison?
Well, by the time all that occurred, like I was already living on my own with my son's mom. We were expecting our first kid, and like I was fully entrenched in that life. Yeah, I had a kid on the way. I had my girl, and I was trying to do that family thing, but I was so caught up into who I was and what I was that my neighborhood came first. And one day, it just happened to be the day we did the first sonogram for my son. I get a phone call from one of my homies talking about another one of our homies' little brother was getting picked on at school by some scraps. Would I go with him to go check these dudes? And of course, come get me. The next day, they came, picked me up. I had gotten an argument with my ex at that time because she wanted me to stay home. We had another appointment that day to go do something. I think to go sign up for WIC or something, and I wasn't having it. Like my homies needed me, I was gonna be there. We ended up making a compromise. I ended up leaving my gun at home, and we ended up going. And like right away, we should have known it was all bullshit because there was supposed to be 10, 15 of these dudes. We get that there's three. Then fucking out of those three, two of them ran. Shit ended up happening. Words were had. People pulled out weapons, and what started out as a simple one-on-one fight ended up with that guy on the ground, dead with a stab wound to the heart. And they arrested three of us while one got gave himself up right there at the scene. I got caught like 5 blocks away coming out of somebody's house that I fucking was trying to fucking break in and hide in. And my other crime, he fucking got away, only to come turn himself in later on at 8 o'clock that night with one of our big homies that pretty much co-signed his testimony because he sat right there in the interview room while he did it. Like, unbeknownst to me at the time, these are dudes that I put my life in their hands, expecting them to be solid. Like, I was taught, like, I was raised, like, we all knew the game. You do the time. I mean, you do the time for the crime and shit. Like, ain't no telling. Like, that's that's not what it was, but really it was because I'm in here finishing up the rest of this 36-year term. They've both been out since '05. So it's like I held on to all these ideas and values that like I still see no error with. Like I'm still loyal, still fucking gonna keep my mouth shut. I'm still gonna do all that stuff. I'm still respectful. I just it took me a long time. It took me until 2021 to finally get my shit together. But like I'm still loyal, I'm still respectful. But now it's just to the people that got it coming. my
Yeah.
kids, my girl, my family. Like, when I say family, I'm not talking about relatives. Like, yeah, there's a couple that I still talk to, mainly my daughter, my grandkids, but like my family is people that are in my heart, people that are there for me day in and day out, no matter what the circumstances are. Not just there for the good or the fucking money and whatever else benefits come with it, but the people that actually love me and want to see me do good. Like
Yeah.
that's what I'm all about now, and I should have been all about all this time, but that's who I wasn't. I was a selfish individual growing up. I did everything I wanted to do to to fit my ego, my pride, and that's why I've been here all this time.
So when you were sitting in there in that courtroom and they were sentencing you, what was going through your head? What were you thinking? Like, damn, this is gonna be a long ride.
Honestly, nah, it was more like I made it. Like I know it sounds crazy, but I was that kid, fucking 14, 15 years old. I knew I was going to prison. I knew
Yeah.
I'd end up behind bars. Like I just didn't think it'd be for this much time. I just knew that was part of the role I was playing at the time. Like there's no way you can do all the shit I've done and get away with it forever. There was eventually gonna come a time where they put cuffs on me and lock me up. Like I said, I just didn't expect it to be this much time. And throughout the whole process, from I started out in juvenile hall after my birthday, they put me in county jail, and then from there I went to Tracy. But that whole time it was not ever, oh fuck, oh my god, this and that. Like
Yeah.
I didn't all of a sudden find religion. I didn't start praying and fucking crying, trying to tell everybody else to minimize my punishment. I embraced it. I just looked at it as like I was graduating from fucking high school to college. Like that's who I was. That's the life I've lived.
So when you were in prison, I'm sure they denied you like at board and stuff like that. How many boards did you get denied?
I attended two of them that I got denied. The last two I just waived because after getting my psych evals, I knew I was going to get denied again, and I didn't feel like going in there and getting scolded like I did the first two times. I mean, like the first time I had it coming, I was in the argument with them like, within 5 minutes. The commissioner, I remember asking me why didn't I go to NANA, and the first thing I said was, "Well, why don't you?"
Yeah.
Like, and that's the wrong thing to tell him. But I ended up getting a 7 year denial that time, and I had that coming. But by the end of that 7 years denial, I took them almost 5 years clean to my second hearing, and I had just dropped out. I was doing good in college, programming, going to groups, but my commissioner happened to be sick, and the guy that filled in for him was one of the main OCS officers. They're the ones that IGI submits our validation package to when they come to validate us, and they're the ones that approve or deny them because they're supposedly like the gang experts in CACR.
Yeah.
And as soon as I sat down, that's the first thing out that dude's mouth is, "Oh, so you're a fucking gang member, huh? You're still fucking around this and that." And I expected them to be hostile at first because they read the transcripts from my first hearing, so I'm thinking they're gonna fucking try to push my buttons, see if I'll blow up like I did the first time, or just mouth off like I did the first time, and I was ready for it. But after about 15 minutes go by, I'm sitting there thinking in my head, like this whole time I'm answering these questions respectfully. I'm not losing my cool, even though he's being disrespectful the whole time. And 15 minutes go by, and I'm like, all right, any minute now he's gonna lighten up. He's gonna switch gears. Like he tried, it didn't work. Nothing. 30 minutes, nothing. 40 minutes, still no change. And after about 45 minutes, they're like, yeah, well, that's gonna be the end of our hearing. You can go ahead and go in the waiting room and wait for our deliberations or for our judgment. And like even that didn't take long. It took like 10 minutes, and probably just long enough for them to go use the restroom or something. But I came back and they hit me with another 5 years, and it took everything I had out to just get up and throw that chair at that dude. Because like, did I deserve to go home at that time? I can't say. Did I change? Yeah, I had already changed. Would I have gone out and committed the same shit I was doing out there before? No. Like I said, I had changed. Do I expect him to believe that? No. But was it sincere? Absolutely. And to get treated the way I did, it just took everything within me not to just get up and throw a chair or something, because like that's how I've dealt with that shit in the past. But to my surprise, I remained calm. I kept my cool. I put my head down because it fucked me up. It hurt. I had everything to go home to at that time, and that was the hardest part about being denied, was having to go back and get on the phone and tell my loved ones like I'm not coming home again.
Yeah.
But the the last couple hearings I was supposed to have, I ended up doing my psych evals because they do them every 3 years. And my first two psych evals over there in Kurt Valley, they were both moderates, and that's actually pretty good for somebody that has my C file. While this last one I went, I ended up getting the high risk, and it's like I'd already had like 6, 7 years clean. I'm programming, fucking going to groups daily. I was actually facilitating for groups at the time in college. I had changed, and it was evident by my record. Like I had a sustained history of doing good,
Yeah.
and for them to give me that high risk, it was basically telling me they weren't going to parole me. That just sit there, do your time, and when your date comes, you get out there. But we're not going to take a chance with that.
So do you attend this last one, hearing?
No, I waived it. I didn't even bother going.
You think that it helped you by waiving it, or what helped you get? What do you think helped you get the parole?
To get where I'm at now
Yeah,
is
to be granted the
just my
parole.
my file. Like the fact that I have over 8 years clean. I have a sustained period of positive programming, whether it was completing DRP or yeah DRP, whether it was the bulks I completed with going to college. Like I said, I was in about 15 groups a week. Every day I was going to groups. Some days I had up to five, others I only had one, but I think I was doing about 15 groups a week. The main group that the board had told me to not just take but stay in was CGA, and I ended up being elected the chairman of my CGA group. I was facilitating anger management, self awareness and recovery, and freedom riders. And one thing about board and committee and all these officials that are in those higher positions, they know who's bullshitting. They can tell when we're sitting there trying to work them because they've been hearing the same shit for fucking decades. So it's like just when they can tell we're bullshitting, they can tell when we're sincere. And I know they actually seen it in me, and they could tell by the way I articulated myself, by what my record reflected, that I wasn't just playing the part. I was actually a different person. Like I was still the same, but I matured. I quit acting impulsively. I quit lashing out with violence every time I was annoyed, and like I really changed. It wasn't for me. I remember hearing countless homies walk away from that life, and that's cool. Like I wish them the best, but they would walk away talking about I'm doing this for my family, I'm doing it for this, I'm doing it for that, for my kid. And a week later, you see that piece of shit on the yard doing the same shit he was doing when he was a part of us, but now he's over there doing it over there for whatever reason. So basically, all that shit he said was a lie. You were just a fucking coward that fucking couldn't admit that you just didn't want to be a part of that shit no more for whatever your reason was. I really don't care. But after hearing that, I don't know how many times, I had told myself when I finally made that decision that that wasn't going to be me. Because I really did it for my family. I did it for my kids, my wife at the time, and like I'm not going to disrespect them by saying now I'm doing this for them and then not really do it.
Yeah.
And on top of that, I've always been a very stubborn, hard-headed person. When I set my mind to something, I do it, whether it's good or bad. And right now, I refuse to lose. I got my kids, I got my grandkids. Like I'm blessed. I got a beautiful woman by my side that they need me out there, and I want to be there with them. I want to be there with them daily, taking care of them, loving them, and just being the man, the dad, the grandpa, the husband that I should have been all along. It's unfortunate it took me this time to get my shit together, but now that I have, it's with the sole purpose of being there for them.
Yeah.
Like I've lived enough of this life in my own selfish ways. I did what I wanted for so long. Like it's time to be about everybody else but me. And the same people that have helped me get to this point in my journey, like now it's time for me to live for them. Especially though my girl, my kids, they're everything. That's who I'm gonna be with when I leave this place. When I get there, like it's gonna be hard. I'm not delusional. It's gonna be work. Like of course I want to go and just enjoy being home, but gotta pay the bills, gotta do all that. And to be real, it's like I look forward to that stuff just because I want to take the burden off their shoulders. I want to do for them. I want to be what they deserve. Because
Yeah.
as far as I'm concerned, they deserve the world, and I can't give them that, but I can give them my worth. I can give them the best of me, and I'm going to.
So I know you had said you wanted to work with kids or youth. What's your plans now that
Yep.
you're one step closer to being completely free?
Well, like I'm finishing up my AA right now with Bakersfield College, and it's going to be in counseling. I've got a lot of connections over the time with different organizations that both work out there and inside of prisons. I've already had an offer to work with one of them, and that's something I'm considering. But it just depends on my location. There
Yeah.
might not be an option where I parole to. I'm still not like fully sure on that. I mean, I was up to a few months ago, but things changed. Now it's not just me that's gonna make that decision. I got somebody else to make it with me. So once I figure out that part, then I'll go from there. But I've got an opportunity to work with juveniles just in the community right there in the town through an outreach program. I got opportunities to work with people that are still incarcerated, and whether I go straight to working with kids or helping other people that are incarcerated, it's all going to get me to the same goal. Like eventually, I'll work with kids and go speak to them and use my experience, my journey to show them like, yeah, you see the movies, you hear the homies in the hood. All they do is glorify that shit, but they're doing it because they're trying to manipulate you. They want you to go and do what they need you to do, what they're too scared to do. They need somebody to take money from. They need somebody to go shoot people because they're not going to. And they're going to tell you whatever they got to do to tell you that. But they're not going to tell you that as soon as shit gets tough, the same motherfuckers that's supposed to be your homies are going to tell on you. And I don't give a fuck if it's from the neighborhood, so-called GP mainline, or on the SY side because I've been told on by everybody. I got told on by my crimies on my case, supposed to be fucking my homies. I got told on by motherfuckers on the main line. I hit the main line, New Folsom, 99. December 27th, I went to the shoot for the first time for an attempted murder. It was an assault on another northerner. There was 17 of us in that shoot yard, and I had 1430 dropped on me, which are confidential memorandums. None of them was from the victim. So four of those hardcore Nathaniels decided they weren't so hard that day, and they were going to tell on me for whatever reason, whatever they got out of it. And that just kept on every time I've been in the incident. And even when I was in the incidents, I've had numerous people fucking tell on me for whatever reasons. Like when you go to board, you get a confidential memorandum, mine's 3 pages long, and it's just summary after summary of all the different confidential information they received on me, saying I was a person of leadership or influence. I was directing, participating in assaults, selling dope on behalf of the organization. Like you name it, I was doing it. And a lot of it was true. It was, but that's for law enforcement to figure out and glean through investigations, not for fucking fake ass homies to fucking go and report because they want a little attaboy from the fucking staff or whatever they're doing it for. I don't know. I don't understand that. I never will. Like I've changed my life, but I'm not gonna do it at the expense of others. Like I'm not getting out by stepping on the next man. That's never been my get down, and I want these kids to know that. I want them to know it's not just what their big homies are telling them because they're trying to manipulate. I want them to go into it wide, eyes wide open, not get at them all aggressive and try to scare them into not coming here. Just give them the facts. given the facts that I didn't have and the opportunity to make up their mind for themselves. Because one thing I learned as a kid myself, being aggressive with the youth ain't gonna work. Because them kids will shoot you just as quickly as shooting anybody else.
Yeah.
Yelling at them doesn't do nothing but shoot. It turns them off. I would get yelled out there, and if I didn't fire on you, I just ignored you. So it's like, why not go and just sit down with them, give them the respect that they deserve, talk to them one on one or in a group setting, but make them feel like they're heard, make them feel like they're a part of the process. When you give them some kind of control over their life, some real control as far as the direction of their life, and not just being manipulated into it, I mean, them kids will surprise you. They're not a lot of dumb kids. I wasn't. I just did a lot of dumb shit for a lack of better options, my circumstances, and I mean, to an extent, that's a cop out. Cause I still could have done the right thing. I just didn't want to. But as long as those kids have that knowledge and that ability to make that choice, like I feel like by being a part of that, I'm doing something to give back. So I can't go back and bring motherfuckers back to life. I can't go and take those scars off bodies. I can't break all those scars. I, I can't take none of that back.
Yeah.
But I can do something to make a difference going forward. And that's what I plan on doing.
Did you benefit anything from when you were involved in a gang, or was it just like,
I mean, of course, like it. I'm not gonna sit here and say it's all bad because it wasn't.
would you do
Like I
would you
have,
do it again if you had the choice? If things were,
would I do it again? That's hard because the way I grew up with my homies. My family wasn't there. Like
yeah. But
my parents.
after doing all this time and what you've seen over the time you were down, you,
I mean, of course, with hindsight being 2020, no, I wouldn't. But that's not the same circumstances. Like that's not the question you asked. If
yeah,
I was in that same position, would I do it again? I probably would, just because that's the best choice I had at the time. Going into it with all the information I know now, absolutely not. I might have done a lot of the shit I did to make money, but as far as going and doing shit with other people, having crime partners and all that, no. Would I have joined a gang? Probably not, because I don't need nobody to get in trouble. I've never needed nobody to handle my business. Like I've been in so much shit behind gangs and behind gangs in here, but I'm struggling to think of even 5% of that shit that was actually a problem I started, was something that manifested because something I did. I was always cleaning up after others. And don't get me wrong, I liked it. That's who I was. I like taking care of my people. But like I said, it was always the wrong people. They're not my kids. My kids are at home without me right now
yeah,
because of all that. So it's like I don't regret a lot of shit because even a part of that life, I have lifelong fucking friends that aren't even friends. They're my family. They're my brothers that I'm still in touch with today, and it has zero to do with gangs.
yeah.
Like all we ever do is talk about our families and about our futures and stuff like that. So like I don't regret any of that. Like I have those bonds that are tighter than my actual blood relatives. But I didn't have to have membership in order to have that. And
Yeah.
that's one thing I didn't realize at that time. I thought I did. And then once I had my membership, I thought I owed them the world because they chose to let me in.
Yeah.
But knowing what I know now, that's just part of the cycle.
So if you had a teenager and he's debating on whether or not he wants to be jumped in or join a gang, or what would your words be to him?
I mean, unfortunately, I got a son that's locked up in juvenile hall right now with looking at a life sentence. They got him for a body too, and like he's not my son by blood, but it's my daughter's little brother, so it's basically my kid. Like when it comes to family, when it comes to kids, like I'm not with all that step kid shit. I'm not with all that other labels that just make kids feel less than. Like anything related to my daughter, that's my family. And like it tore me up when I found out. Like even before that, I knew he was out there gangbanging, and it broke my heart because before I got locked up, when my son was first in his mom's stomach, is 2 3 months old, I clearly remember being with all my homies. She was there, and my homies were like, "Oh yeah, all our kids are gonna grow up. That's gonna be the next generation of RBL and this, and that." And I shut that down right away. I said, "Man, my kids ain't gonna be nowhere near you motherfuckers or your badass kids. My kids ain't
Right.
gonna be a part of this life." Like, yeah, it was good enough for me. I chose this, but I'll be damned if I let my kids do it. And I've been blessed. Like my kids aren't a part of this life except for my daughter's little brother now. But even him, I'm doing what I can to reach out to him and just give him the facts. Prepare him because he's gonna come to prison. Probably gonna come with a life sentence, if not a long ass stretch like I did. And nowadays it ain't the same. Nowadays you can get out a lot quicker than I ever could. But
Yeah.
you gotta do what you gotta do. You don't gotta tell. You don't gotta do none of that weird shit. But you do gotta keep your hands to yourself. You gotta come in, go to school, participate in programming. And when we think about it, all that shit is good for us. Like you get a free college degree, as many as you can earn. You can get fucking self help to help you really deal with with your trauma and your issues that led us here. Because we all grew up with traumas and issues. Like the fact that my parents left when I was 5 and 6 years old, like that was trauma that I never even knew about. I didn't know I had abandonment issues that made me not trust people. I didn't know I had issues with authority. I didn't know I had an anger problem. Like I didn't know that dealing drugs wasn't the right thing to do when you need money. I didn't know it wasn't okay to hit people when you were upset because those
Yeah.
were all things I learned at the home. Those were all things I mimicked by seeing it in my environment. So as a kid, like, yeah, I was told it was wrong, but the same people that were telling me it was wrong were doing it themselves. So it's like it was kind of an easy way to go, and that's one of the reasons why it's important that I do what I say. I don't just talk about it. I actually live that life now. Because, like for example, the deal with my kids. They're pretty much the same age. They're
Yeah.
not twins. I I was I was a dick back then. I used to deal with a bunch of females, and I didn't care about their feelings or none of that shit. I was in it for myself, and I regret that because I heard a lot of people that didn't have that coming. But now that I have a daughter of my own and granddaughters, uh, I'm not going to be that person no more. I'm not going to sit there and let them see me cheating on another female, basically telling them like it's okay to do that. So if you're in a relationship and your dude does that to you, then by all means you gotta sit there and take it because dad does that or grandpa does that. Like I'm not gonna do that. I've told a
Yeah.
gang of people and they fucking laugh when I say it, but having a daughter made me into a feminist because like my daughter's everything, and I'll be damned if I do anything to show her that she's anything less than a beautiful little queen, that she deserves the world, and that goes for everybody in my life, all the females. Like I I gotta set the right example for the boys too, right? And whether they're my kids or not, whether they're my family or not, I've always been able to be somebody that others look up to, somebody that others follow, and I use that for my own selfish means. I looked out for my people. Yeah, I gave them dope to sell. I gave them this, I gave them that, but really it wasn't helping them. I was just hurting them further. And now, if I can use those same tools that I used all those years to be successful in that lifestyle, if I can use it now to be successful as a fucking modern citizen, a fucking somebody that like don't get me wrong, I'm always gonna fucking be who I am. I'm always gonna have that little bit of hood to me, and that's fine. I don't gotta change and be fucking John fucking citizen that's never fucking walked outside of a crosswalk in his life. Like I'm gonna be me, but I'm gonna be me that my kids can be proud of. That the people around me too can look up to and not be led astray. Like that's really important to me because Like I made a lot of promises about what I'm gonna do and what I'm gonna do for people, and I tend to keep all that. One of the main ones is not coming back. And if I put myself in a position where I'm doing the same fuck shit I was, taking on some same risk, like I'd be lying to everybody that I care about. And I'm not gonna do that. Like I'm fortunate, like to be in this position. I should have had life a long time ago, but I don't. I should have had everybody in my life abandon me, but they haven't. And the ones that are here, like I said, mainly my kids, my girl. I mean, now I can actually say I know what unconditional love is because there's nothing I won't do for them.
Yeah.
And I mean, in return, look what it's doing for me. It's making me a better person. It's getting me out of prison. So it's worth it. And the kids out there need to see that. They need to see there's something else. Even if your family life ain't the best, there's still help. There's still other people. We just got to be willing to ask for it and accept it when it comes. And then
Yeah.
when we're in a position to pay it forward, lend a hand.
All right. So I'm gonna hit the end on it that way because I know you said you had some phone calls you have to make and stuff, and
Yeah.
it should give you the option to download. So after it downloads, I'll download it too, and then I'll edit what I'm gonna post, and then I'll let you check it out, and then we post it.
All right, bro.
All right.
You have a good one and fucking hit me up when you can. I'll be
Yeah.
waiting for you.
Hit me up in the morning though.
All right, bro.
All right.
I'll hit you up when I wake up, but it's gonna be hella early. I'll get up at
I
like
know.
fucking 4.
I'll message back though when I get up.
All right, bro. You have a good night. Tell your girl I say mine. You guys have a
All
good
right.
one. I
You
love
too.
you. Talk to you later.
You too, bro.
Bye.